Joining us now with more on what the trade group is recommending is Jason Oxman, CEO of ITI. Jason, what do you and your constituents want from the president and from the American taxpayer?
Well, Brian, as you just heard, this meeting is enormously important to address the long-term solutions to a short-term problem. The short-term problem created by the pandemic is unprecedented demand for semiconductors. We need to address that with long-term solutions. So the short answer is we're asking the president and Congress to fund manufacturing capabilities for semiconductors in the U.S. That $50 billion figure you heard bandied about is a great start. It's the kind of investment we need to make. We need to encourage investment in manufacturing capability here in the United States for economic and national security reasons. And that's what we're really focused on telling the president about today.
Absolutely. Listen, we need to have it here. And by the way, we do have some here, and we could always use more, I guess. I just did that quick math. Jason, explain to our audience why, if it is so important, they have to pay for it and not the companies.
Well, the companies certainly are willing to make those investments. What we're looking to have the United States do is invest in the kind of manufacturing capability that has been increasingly done outside of the U.S. It's actually more expensive for companies to build semiconductor manufacturing capability in the U.S. than it is elsewhere in the world, because countries like China, regions like the EU, are making those kind of investments in supporting manufacturing. Look, these companies are spending anywhere from $10 to $30 billion to build fabs to construct manufacturing of semiconductors. We want that to happen in the U.S. We want the U.S. investment to focus on companies like Intel, but also to encourage international companies like Samsung and TSMC to build those manufacturing capabilities here. You're seeing announcements made about that already. Samsung in Texas, TSMC in Arizona, Intel in Arizona as well. We think the kind of investments that the U.S. government can make to support, not to pay for, but to support that manufacturing happening here in the U.S., as well as research and development, workforce development, we think that's important to make us globally competitive, to encourage those facilities to be built here in the U.S.
Because as I am sure you are aware, Jason, there is a conversation, if you want to call it that, going on about global tax competitiveness, and we're talking about raising the corporate tax rate. I'm not going to ask you to chime in on that, but part of it is the idea that, well, we're seeing, unfair tax advantages around the world. Some countries, as you just noted, are subsidizing, or if not just outright sort of owning some of these industries. So you're saying the playing field is not level at all. If I'm Intel, how much harder is it to compete with a company that is semi-nationalized?
Yeah, our calculus is it's about 30 to 50% more expensive now to build a semiconductor facility in the U.S. than it is in some of these other countries that are subsidizing. And you're absolutely right. We have to be sensitive to the tax implications, and we're not looking for a tax increase to support this kind of manufacturing investment. But what the U.S. government can do through a combination of direct investment and tax credits is make it a level playing field for companies to build the manufacturing capability here in the U.S. And we think because this is a combination of both an economic issue and a national security issue, and because we've seen unprecedented demand for semiconductors, the return on this kind of investment is going to be multiple fold. Look, the pandemic has highlighted how important it is for us all to be able to work from home, for our kids to learn from home, for us to be able to access our doctors from home. That's not going to change when the pandemic ends. It's only going to increase our need for those technologies. And semiconductors are used, as you know, from across industries. It's the tech sector, it's automotive, it's medical, it's investment in infrastructure for technology like 5G, artificial intelligence and the like. It's important for all industries.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.